I think we can begin. Thanks, Jasmine. Hello, good afternoon to everyone. Welcome you all to the first webinar of STEM Connector of the year 2026. I'm so glad and we're so excited to have such a diverse group of participants joining us today. I'm Apurva Singh. I'm the Regional Program Officer at the Asia Foundation. Before we begin and I hand it over to my colleague, a few basic house rules. I would request everyone to keep themselves on mute and please stay engaged throughout this. Please stay engaged through the session. We would encourage people to share their questions and answers in the Q&A box, and we'll take them up during the last session when we take the Q&As with the speakers. Thank you so much. With this, I'll hand it over to Nadia Subramaniam, Director of Future Skills Alliance. Over to you, Nadia.
Thanks so much, Apurva, and welcome to all of our participants from across the region. My name is Nadia, and perhaps I would also like to welcome our distinguished speakers for today. We've got an exciting session coming up. All right. Perhaps let me begin by sharing a little bit about the Future Skills Alliance. The Future Skills Alliance is a collective impact platform where we bring together corporate partners, government, academic, and community partners, where we're all working towards the same goal, where we're designing and implementing relevant, tailored, and inclusive digital skilling programs. They support youth and also other underserved communities engage fully with their digital economy. So, with the Future and Digital Economy, two of such programs, our flagship programs, are STEM Connector and Skills to Work, which most likely you're in have participated in. So, in terms of STEM Connector, it's an integrated professional development program where it focuses on young women across the region embark on kind of persist and thrive in a career in STEM. We have activities like in-person networking events and mentoring events in universities and institutions around the region. There are site visits and workplace tours, guest lectures, and virtual professional development resources like this webinar that we're having today. Skills to Work is a more targeted program where we design a particular program that provides inclusive pathways for anyone to start, restart, or transition their careers with in-demand skills that are needed in the current digital economy. They include foundational and technical modules that can jumpstart your career, essential soft skills, and also support in resume preparation, interview skills. Basically, there's a whole wide range of activities, and each program in each country is tailored to the needs of the participants there. Throughout both the projects, right now we are working across the region in countries like India, Thailand, Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, and Korea this year. So we're really excited to have a wide range of students with us today. Well, I would say on my side, really to welcome all of you and to congratulate you for taking this step in kind of really thinking through what is the possibilities for your career and how you can kind of work towards them. Thank you so much, and pass it back over to you, Apurva.
Thanks so much, Nadia. It's now my pleasure to introduce our speakers for today's session. Firstly, Priyank Hirani, who's the Vice President Programs at Data.org, where he leads global initiatives that expand the responsible use of data and AI to address society's most pressing challenges in this role. He advances Data.org's organizational strategy and cultivates strategic partnerships that accelerates the adoption, diffusion, and impact of AI for communities worldwide. Priyank has played a central role in developing and scaling Data.org's approach to workforce development, institutional capacity building, and ecosystem acceleration. He helped establish the organization's flagship Capacity Accelerator Network, a global network of hubs across Asia Pacific, Africa, India, Latin America, and the United States, working to cultivate 1 million purpose driven data professionals by 2032. Through his work, he stewards multi stakeholder initiatives with mission aligned organizations to build sustainable talent pipelines and strengthen the global data for good ecosystem. Priyank is passionate about democratizing access to opportunity and enabling locally driven data and AI innovation across domains, including climate, energy, health, and financial inclusion. Thanks for joining us today, Priyank. Joining him is Shivam Shukla, lead programs and capacity building at data.org. Shivam leads capacity building partnerships, working closely with 100 plus partners globally, including in Southeast Asia. He works with universities, governments, and ecosystem partners to build talent pipelines for social impact and strengthen organizations' data and AI capacity. His work spans key thematic areas including climate and health resilience, financial inclusion, gender equity, and digital governance. Shivam has previously led skilling partnerships with the likes of the Central Board of Secondary Education in India and UNICEF's Generational Unlimited initiative, particularly focusing on young women and underserved youth. He also mentors early career professionals through his initiatives Impact Connect and regularly delivers career and industry readiness sessions at leading universities. So glad to have you here, Shivam. Thanks so much, Priyank and Shivam. I'm going to hand it over to you now.
Thanks so much, Apurva, and thanks, Nadia. Shim, do you mind putting up the slides, please? So huge thanks to the Asia Foundation team and the Future Skills Alliance for having us here. We're very excited for this interaction. As Apurva mentioned, I'm the Vice President for Programs at Data.org. And the goal for us today is to give you a bit of the lay of the land, share some of the insights and perspectives from our global work, working across several geographies, and really sort of open up the discussion to make it interactive and learn from all of you in what you are seeing as emerging pathways for new careers as the world evolves into an AI economy. So let me jump right in. Data.org is a platform for Um, and really, the mission with which we were set up is to be able to democratize data, democratize access to skills for the impact space. So a lot of what you'll hear from my colleague Shivam and myself today, we focus on the impact space, looking at climate, health, financial inclusion, etc. But a lot of these learnings are transferable across industries. So don't be surprised if you see these things in the kind of work that you may be looking for in the future. Data.org is accelerating the power of data and AI to solve some of these largest challenges in the world across the sustainable development goals. By 2032, we will be training a workforce of 1 million purpose driven data and AI practitioners across different geographies. And the goal would be that they are then embedded into organizations like governments, industry, corporates, community led organizations, nonprofits, and overall sort of are helping advance the ecosystem to have better outcomes leveraging AI. We run innovation challenges that help surface breakthrough solutions. And we also create tools that support organizations and individuals in advancing on their data journey. The Capacity Accelerator Network is one of our flagship programs that I helped set up in its early days, and I've been leading that for the last few years. We now have 5 hubs, and these focus on various different domains. Beyond these 5 dots, what lies beneath is a network of partners that have together worked to train over 180,000 purpose driven practitioners till date. We were set up in 2020, so we are a relatively young organization, and we leverage the power of partnerships. So far, we have had amazing response. We've had over 40% women participants in our training programs in India and Africa. The industry standard, as many of you would know, is around 20%. So this was something that was very intentional. We've had fellowships created to support social impact organizations and governments. We've supported trainings for civil servants in several different countries in Asia and Africa. We have over 9,000 organizations that are engaged and benefiting from the data.org platform. But as I said, beyond the five dots, ultimately it's a network of over 100 partners that is powering this growth. So we look at the supply, the demand, and the ecosystem enablers to all come together and work towards thinking about how do we create the next generation of leaders and thinkers, people like all of you here today, and support them on their workforce transformation journey, support organizations in their digital transformation journey. And that's what really energizes us. Coming to today's conversation, let's first start with a quick question just to understand how we are all feeling. Um, I would request you to go to Mentimeter, go to menti.com, or you can scan the QR code on your screen, or colleagues have put the details in the chat. And please try and answer this question that you see on the screen, which is looking at how ready do you feel for the data and AI future? Are you very ready? Are you somewhat ready? Are you curious but unsure? Or have you just started thinking about what this means for you individually and the kind of work that you might want to do in the future? So we're already getting some good responses, and it's encouraging to see that we are seeing people who feel somewhat ready and are curious, but sort of rightfully so, not sure on how to navigate this space, or what does this mean for me as an individual. I'll give 10 more seconds and then we'll sort of go to the next slide. A lot of people are in that space, curious but unsure. So I think you've come to the right session. We would hopefully be able to help you get a little more confident in navigating this space and try and be sort of acting as providing some guidance in what might be potential avenues for you to consider as you think about how to move forward. So while other responses are still coming in, maybe we can go to the next slide in the interest of time. I quickly want to share what we'll cover today. So we want to talk about the opportunity, the challenges, and the opportunity for AI and data careers, especially for people in Asia. Thinking about what are the emerging roles. Obviously, we have the usual suspect of tech roles, but there are several new kinds of roles that didn't exist, say, 5 years back. And that's really exciting to see what may be coming in the future. Skills that matter. We want to sort of share some inspirational examples from the partners that we have worked with over the last few years in terms of the real world impact that you can create in being in such roles, and then provide some direction for your pathways and leave some time for question and answer. So let me start with the opportunity. As you all know, the data and AI field is rapidly paced. It's growing very fast. And really, it needs people from everywhere. Every role in the future is going to be a data or AI related role. We're already seeing some of that as we look at the kinds of job descriptions you see out there. As data.org, our name has the sort of data in it title. And so something that we did at the very beginning of when we were set up was to start studying the data and AI for good landscape. So we've been doing this for the last 5 years. We recently just updated our AI for Good landscape, looking at where the field is headed. And there are interesting insights that we have been seeing in this space. So, number one, apart from the number of organizations that now sort of start seeing their role and meaningful engagement in the AI for Good ecosystem, it is also about the kind of work that they do. So earlier organizations would think of themselves as I'm a health organization, I'm a climate organization. Now people start thinking about leveraging the power of tech and AI to be able to deliver the services or products that they were before in the domain that they used to work in. So that's interesting. Generative AI just emerged around 2022 and started becoming mainstream now. We're seeing a lot of sort of movement from curiosity to trying out things and piloting. But there is a huge potential to still get it to scale and institutionalization. And that's what the next few years are going to sort of tell us where it's headed, if we do get it right or not. And ultimately, the questions around being able to do it responsibly and ethically. So I won't spend much time on this. Please feel free to go and explore this study on our platform if you like to delve deeper and see what are the kinds of organizations and partnerships that are in this space. And maybe these are some of the organizations that you might consider working with in the future. But at the high level, if we could go to the next slide, I want to talk about what this means for all of you as individuals. We did this report called Workforce Wanted, which was looking at data talent for the social impact space. And one of the key insights from that report with the Patrick J. McGovern Foundation and Dalberg back in a couple of years back was that capabilities are the most in-demand skills globally. It's not going to surprise anyone on this call because you're here to be able to learn some of these things in this context. Um, there is a huge opportunity. In fact, the number that we'd come up with was over 3.5 million new data and AI for social impact jobs are waiting to be discovered. And a lot of this can happen in developing countries, in the global south, in the global majority, if we do it right. Data.org essentially sort of took the responsibility and committed to supporting 1 million of these 3.5 million jobs, and that's where our journey has been focusing on. But it's not just data.org. If we look at the next slide, you'll see that there are several reports and several studies from World Economic Forum, LinkedIn, Cognizant, and others that talk about very similar things. So these findings not just hold true for the impact space, but also for other sectors. The WEF says that 70% of employers are now hiring for AI skills. In fact, LinkedIn says that 1.3 million jobs have already been added by AI. And so the potential is huge. And there is a growing interest and sort of urge for people to not be left behind. However, a lot of this growth still till date has been in the global north, has been in places in certain geographies, which to my mind could create a divide on top of the existing divide, such as like the infrastructure gap or digital divide or divide to access that sort of separates the global north and the global south. Here's an example, and I won't spend much time on this, is that around is some work that we did in the US with community health workers. This was a study on Recode, which looks at rising equitable community data ecosystems. And we're looking at health data ecosystems and seeing what is the participation for community health workers with lived experience across different parts of the data life cycle. And don't get sort of entangled with too many things on the screen here, but if you could just focus on the red chart on each of the bar chart, if you look at the red parts and the blue, so extreme left and extreme right, these are looking at different stages of the data lifecycle, from data collection to processing, analysis to sharing and reporting and dissemination. How involved was how was someone's involvement who had a lived experience about that work? So the red talks about no involvement from people with lived experience, and the blue, on the other hand, talks about sort of having full involvement to the extent that they were able to make decisions with this. And as you can compare, the red is much more prominent than the blue parts. And that's what we should be focusing on changing. So there aren't enough people with lived experience in data and AI roles today, and that's where the huge opportunity for people from India, Malaysia, Thailand, across Southeast Asia, is for people like you and me to be participating in the AI economy and finding our niche there, because we all come with that lived experience in these geographies. On the next slide, I just want to sort of pass it on to Shivam by sharing this high level thought with you that anyone from anywhere can really build a successful career in data and AI. And hopefully, we'll help you deconstruct what that means in today's session. It's not just for a few people or few universities, the elite ones. It's essentially about problem solving for anyone coming from any background. You may be from STEM or non-STEM, you may be from urban spaces or rural, but it is in your hands to be able to take action and find opportunities to be able to create careers and make your space today in this area. And technology and AI, in fact, has been great enablers and great levelers in some sense to be able to make those opportunities visible and available to everyone anywhere. With that, let me pass it on to Shivam to talk a little about the emerging roles.
Thank you so much, Priyank. I hope I'm audible.
Yes.
Everyone, thank you so much. Yes, I will now talk about emerging roles. So when people hear engineers, they often think of software engineers or machine learning scientists, but the ecosystem around data and AI is much broader. Interpret results, communicate insights, and guide ethical decisions. So if you're interested in data and AI careers exist across technical, analytical, strategic, and get some examples across the ecosystem. Uh, like data scientists, AI engineers, analysts, BI developers, research analysts who help organizations interpret data. In strategy and operation, very importantly, and this is often something that gets missed out, communication roles like data is important. The key takeaway here is that there isn't just in AI careers. There are multiple ways in which you can get involved. Is my audio all right?
No, Shivam, you're breaking in between.
Okay, let me probably switch off my.
Now it's better.
Yeah, better,
Is it any better now?
Yeah.
better.
Okay. Just give me 1 second. Let me adjust my audio.
Um, yeah, maybe as you are kind of going back to that, Shivam, I wanted to ask Priyank a question. There's in the slide that you had before, you said on the lived experience slide, you said data infrastructure and solutions must be kind of involved in the local community to be meaningful. Maybe you could share a little bit on that. I found that comment quite interesting. It caught my eye. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, happy to. Thanks for that, Nadia. So what I really mean by that is at data.org, we really focus on thinking about our work as globally informed but locally led. Instead of parachuting solutions from one part of the world to the other, or just thinking about building capacities in, say, one country, we're looking at how do we help different countries and different geographies and sectors build contextual capacities that are local, that are with the people who come from that experience. As an example, if we did not have women into AI roles, and today, sadly, the number of men is much higher in AI roles than women, the kind of solutions that are produced and the kind of tools that are developed are often not representative of the needs of women. And that is something that should not be acceptable to all of us. And if we flip that, and if we are able to have representation from all the different stakeholders who come with that lived experience, and they are able to bring in a lot more richness, a lot more nuance to a tool. And really, it's about sort of not thinking of one size fits all solutions. A lot of the big tech world and sort of the large companies have been looking at large models that are going to be deployed across the world at once. But where we focus on is thinking about how do we bring in the local nuances and experiences into creating programs, processes, tools that can then be more sustained, enhanced, and really make a difference for the people that all of us care about. So that's what I meant. Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much. And maybe Shivam, are you ready to continue? Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks.
So sorry about that.
No
Technology
problem.
sometimes fails all of us. But I hope I'm better audible now.
Much better. Please continue.
Perfect. So yeah, I was talking about different kinds of skills, and from that, I want to focus on basically the skills part of it. Um, Yes. So once you understand the range of roles, the next question becomes what skills actually matter. Employers today are looking for a combination of technical and human skills. Technical skills help you with work with data and AI tools, but human skills help you translate those insights into decisions and real world action. The most effective professionals tend to combine both. And that's what we want to now focus on. On the technical side, some skills are growing quickly that include prompt engineering, data analysis, AI literacy, visualization. Many entry-level roles start with Python, SQL, spreadsheets, and basic machine learning concepts. But equally important are human skills, which are on the right side of the screen. Employers consistently emphasize communication, problem framing, adaptability, and ethical thinking, and some of the most necessary skills that they are currently looking for. Being able to explain insights to a non-technical audience is extremely valuable. So if you're planning your learning journey, think about a combination of technical and human skills. Another shift that we are now seeing today is the shift is the growing value of skills. AI skills demand has grown significantly, and organizations are increasingly hiring based on demonstrated capabilities. But this doesn't mean degrees do not matter. Your degrees give you a foundation and theoretical understanding, but what employers increasingly look for is graduates who combine academic knowledge with practical data and AI skills. Now, I'd love to pause here and hear from all of you. What is one skill that you're currently building that could help you in a data and in the data and AI space? It could be technical like Python or machine learning, or something more human like storytelling or policy. Please add it to Mentimeter, and a word cloud will appear on your screens. To use Mentimeter, you can directly go to menti.com and enter the code on the screen. You should also be able to scan the QR code. That's great. I wasn't expecting storytelling to be the first thing on people's mind, but this is encouraging. Yeah, vibe coding is gaining a lot of prominence now. Great. This is some indication of what people are looking at building, and we will talk about how to build these skills towards the end of the session. But for now, in the interest of time, I will move forward with something very important. So the point that we want to make here is that data and AI alone cannot change lives. People using data and AI responsibly and thoughtfully are the ones who are creating impact. Through our work across the world, we are seeing professionals using data to improve public health, climate resilience, financial inclusion, and many other areas. So let me share a few examples. I'm focusing on two, but we have many such examples in our network.
The first example is of Rosa Ahmed. She worked with Jamia Singapore in financial empowerment for women from low-income communities. We've been working with her through our CAN Asia Pacific work, where she was a part of our FinTech literacy program with the National University of Singapore, where she learned about ethical AI, financial inclusion, and responsible data use. Then she applied those skills in community programs that teach women how to use digital financial tools. Now, this is a great example of how data and digital skills can directly improve economic opportunities for communities. Another example is of Saurabh from India. He worked with Civic Data Lab to address disaster planning challenges in the state of Assam. It is a very disaster-prone state in the northeastern part of India. Decision makers had data, but it was fragmented across many sources. He integrated satellite, weather, infrastructure, and socioeconomic data into a unified platform. Now, this system helps authorities plan for floods more effectively. And after the fellowship, he was also hired as a full-time employee at Civic Data Lab. So that's one of our success stories with one of our programs. These are, again, like I said, two examples of the many people we are working with who are using data and AI for social impact. So the question that, of course, comes to your mind is, how do you start building a pathway into this field? The reality is that there isn't a single path. Some people start through coursework, others start through hackathons, research projects, internships, online learning. But the key is to start building skills, projects, and networks over time. So you can begin from anywhere, but spend enough time on it for you to build a solid portfolio in this. Now, question is, what is it that we do? And we do many things. To support learners and early career professions, we have created a number of free resources. On our library, you will find courses on data storytelling, responsible data management, ethical AI, and so on. We also publish guides, which are much more quicker versions of the course. So if you want to get something done very quickly, you look at a 15-minute read on topics like productivity with Gen AI, data strategy, organization policies with AI. We also have a job board, which makes it very easy for you to identify jobs in the data for social impact space, which lists jobs across nonprofits, policy organizations, technology companies. And we also run hackathons and challenges to provide opportunities to build real-world portfolios. So you can check out our platform for that. But what I want to spotlight right now is one such example. This is a photo from the APRU Tech Policy Hackathon. We organized this in partnership with the Association of Pacific Rim Universities, Google, and the NUS FinTech Lab. We brought together participants from across the Asia Pacific region to work on challenges like financial inclusion, AI governance, and digital trust. Now, many participants, when I spoke to them, they told us that the experience was transformative because they were able to apply their technical skills on societal challenges. There was a lot of peer learning involved when they came together in the same space. This is actually a photo from Google Office. They got access to mentors and judges who were helping them in designing their solutions. They were talking to each other. A team would comprise of different kind of disciplines, people from technology background, people from legal background, social sciences background, etc. So they were learning from each other. Very interestingly, when I spoke to mentors also, they told me that and these are mentors from organizations like Google, Microsoft, UNSCAP. They told me how they benefited from engaging with new ideas from such young professionals. So a space like a hackathon became a win-win solution for people from both sides, people who are in the industry, who are representing the mentor side, and people who are in the universities, who are representing the participants in such a hackathon. But this is one example. And there are organizations beyond data.org also who are doing some amazing work, one of which I want to spotlight here. This is ASEAN Ahead, a regional effort to equip more than 18,000 young professionals with AI skills. The program focuses not only on technical training, but also on mentorship and career pathways. And it, like I said, the focus is on the ASEAN region, so it's very relevant for you. Importantly, it targets a diverse group of learners, including university students, vocational learners, and underserved youth. Programs like this show how region is actively investing in building next generation of AI talent. So not only is data and AI important for people like you and I, but also for government who are now investing in equipping people with data and AI skills. I have added a link of the program at the bottom of this page. If you are interested, I will encourage you to go and explore this program. And there are many more. So be active on LinkedIn and start looking at what some of these programs look like and where you can be a part of some of this. So now to conclude, what I want to say is that data and AI careers are expanded rapidly across sector. And like Priyank mentioned, they are for everyone. You don't have to be a coder. You don't have to come from an elite university. You don't have to be in global north to be working on data and AI. You can, with your skills, sitting whichever region you're in from anywhere, take on these opportunities. The opportunities are not limited to a few universities, companies, or backgrounds. What matters the most is your willingness to keep learning, experimenting, and applying your skills into real world problems. We have shared a few resources that can help you explore this field further, and you can look at them on the left side of the screen. And now we'd love to hear from you. So if you have any questions, happy to answer those questions. Priyanka and my contact details are here, so you can reach out to us at a later stage as well. With that, I'll stop sharing my screen. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Shivam and Priyank. That was really insightful sharing. And I think, a lot of our participants are thinking in terms of like their next practical steps, right? So we've got a couple of questions here in the chat box. So the first one is, for students without a technical background, what are the practical entry points into AI and data careers?
Shiva?
Okay. Yeah, maybe I can take that. And Priyank, please feel free to jump in whenever. I am also one of the people without a technical background. My background is in economics. I am not a coder. So I think I can speak about it. There are many ways in which you can be a part of the process where you can work with people who have the technical background. So we have a data analyst in our team. You can then interpret the results and insights that they are drawing in a much more technical fashion and then communicate that to a different kind of audience, programmatic audience who understand this simpler language much better. You can also understand what people want to hear in terms of what their interests are and then convey the results in the way they want to understand. That's one example of the skill that I'm talking about. Then there are other things to be considered. For example, creating a mindset around using data and AI responsibly and ethically. So we know that AI is moving fast and we have to learn fast as to how to be responsible, because we know that the responses generated by AI can be biased, it can be hallucinating. So you need to understand all of those things, which do not require you to be a technical person. So a good starting point that I have found for myself is to just look at these short courses, which give you a 1 hour, 2 hour overview of what the particular field is about. So you can look at data storytelling, you can look at ethical AI, all of these courses. In 1 hour, you'll at least know whether this is for me or not and what the foundations are like. Once you've done that, you can then explore a lot more resources within that particular set. So the first starting point I would say is to look at these quick short courses and then think about your journey ahead by participating in hackathons or doing some internships or projects.
I see. And so then do I understand correctly, like the field is so broad that, you just kind of have to, see what would lead to something that you're quite interested in. And no matter which direction you choose, you have to build those skills, that knowledge. And I thought it was really interesting when you said you also have to build that network, right? So a lot of times it is about talking to people and things like that. Thank you so much for sharing. We have a couple of other questions too. What are the most important skills that students should start building today to stay relevant in an AI-driven job market?
I can
Yeah.
take that, and Shivam, feel free to jump in. Um, and maybe a lot of people will be surprised to hear this answer coming from someone at data.org. The most important skills are not going to be the technical skills. They're going to be the human skills. And it's really about looking at where the AI trajectory is leading all of us towards. Um, Think of it as, what are the first kinds of roles that are vanishing? What are the kinds of tasks that AI is getting good at? And they're really about coding. So it's taking the code, making it better, writing code on its own. What are the tasks that are still difficult for AI to take on? And those, you will realize, are where human judgment was required, where a decision making in sort of thinking about bias and human morality came into picture. So my sort of thinking, and a lot of our thinking at data.org is around those aspects of thinking about ethics and sort of skills that, in fact, a social science student may be learning even more than a tech student. And it's important for technology students and engineers to not sort of think of that as this is someone else's job. Because if you do take up a role in that kind of environment, it'll be your responsibility to bring this in. So it's about sort of thinking of decision making, human judgment. I would also say that we will need people to think about how to work with each other. So another skill that I would encourage people to focus on is to be able to understand how to work in multi-stakeholder, multicultural environments. How do you talk to people? How do you engage with people who may not share your beliefs, who may not share your thinking, who may not look like you, who may come from another part of the world? And this is going to not just true for this field, but like any field. And these are things that are essentially transferable skills for people across all domains. So that's what I would encourage people to focus on.
Okay, thank you.
I think
It's refreshing. Yeah, Apurva?
just on this, Priyank, one common question I've also heard from people around and students I've interacted with is that the field is it's new. Everybody is curious. Students are also confused, and it's also at the same time very competitive because in every field now there's a demand to, know at least the basics of AI. So the question that has been coming up is that what is it that they can show that differentiates them, when they're applying for jobs from the other candidates in terms of just this sector specific? Is it some kind of specific course that they should, build their capacity on, or what is it?
Yeah, that's a great question, and really important one to sort of think about what does this practically mean. And you're right, Purva, in saying that a lot of the roles that we're going to see in 5 years from now have actually not even emerged in the market. So when people in schools or universities are going through curriculum, that may very rapidly change by the time you get into the industry. And that's where it's important to focus on not solving a particular problem or be fixated on a specific solution, but knowing the approach and being able to cultivate that mindset to be able to apply that to whatever new tool, whatever new, say, programming language comes into the market, whatever new kinds of things that emerge, so that you're able to easily apply it in that way as technology keeps moving. Shivam shared a few examples of what you could practically do. And in fact, I'll welcome Shivam to talk about like how you can think of it as a step-by-step journey. We often look at all the resources that Shivam shared to be the starting point, but even within that, there could be sort of small baby steps. So maybe Shivam, you want to talk about that a little?
Yeah. No, that's actually a very important question, and very pertinent to the times in which we are living, where AI is rapidly evolving the industry. But having worked with people, especially early career professionals who are looking to build a career in social impact, I also think that it's not a new question. Very often people are anxious about how do we get started, and there are things that are changing so much and all of that. My insight has been that sometimes in our anxiety we overplan and under execute. I think there is merit in getting started and not having the perfect start. That's perfectly fine. But once you get started, you get closer to what's actually happening on the ground and are not making any more guesses. And then you kind of keep iterating your journey. So idea is that you find out what you want to work on, and for that get some solid experience. You can do internships, you can do projects, you can, like I said, be a part of a hackathon. Those are the places for you to get involved, and then better understand the sector, and then kind of iterating your approach. Now, how to get there is a question. So to get an internship, if you don't have a data degree or if you don't have a data certificate, can be slightly difficult. And for that, you can kind of take these courses. So you can look at some of these online professional certifications where you get it 2, 3 hours, you at least get one starting certification. At internship level, I'm guessing most of our participants are undergraduates or very young professionals. A certification is good enough to land an internship. You take an internship, you do a project, a hackathon, etc. That gives you something real. in that, you also build networks who will give you real insights, who will also give you access to opportunities which might not be publicly publicized. And then from there, you start building. That's something I have seen as the most valuable thing that young professionals can do. Not overplan, just get to execution and then keep refining your approach.
I do
Perfect.
want to double down
Yeah.
on that point that you have made about thinking of sort of being intentional about engaging in experiential learning opportunities, and they might come from anywhere. I'm sure the Future Skills Alliance is presenting a lot of opportunities to all the participants. But it will be something that can help you stand out in the crowd.
Yeah.
So that's somewhere, and gives you real world experience and the skills. When you go out into your first job or in industry, oftentimes people feel underprepared. And if you may have been part of any such experience, then that allows you to look at things in a very different lens and be more prepared. So it could be a fellowship, a hackathon, an internship. It might be a summer school. So it could be in whatever shape and form, but it allows people to essentially build a portfolio of skills that they can then talk about through real world projects.
Yeah. And Priyank, maybe you've highlighted the importance of not only like going through the course and all that, but then communicating it. We had an anecdote in the chat about someone whose sister was a kind of working had an arts degree and worked on program management. Along the way, started getting interested in UI UX, considered pivoting. Within 6 months, I'm assuming she's doing something like in parallel, right? Still working on her old role and then pivoting in 6 months, taking online courses and then started personal projects and then used this as like a demonstrated portfolio. And from what I can understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, that there's such a great demand in a lot of these organizations that really, if you can show that you can do the job, that you can show that you are professional, there is a very good chance that you will be given a seat at the table, and then from there your career depends on you, right?
Absolutely, yes, 100%.
Okay, we have another question. And it's kind of, I guess, related to a question that I had also. So the question is, tell me about helpful and beneficial AI skills that must be needed in a good career ahead, especially for political science graduated students. And I know we talked a little bit about, non-tech degrees, but I kind of want to double down on this idea of a lot of the workforce in Southeast Asia and, generally in this region, they work for either the government or also like small and medium enterprises. So perhaps my question is like, what kind of AI skills do you need if your job is not really an AI job, right? Like, so what kind of AI and data skills do you think someone who's working in like, like a Ministry of Education or someone who's then working in a small bank or small medium size I don't know, like like a food and beverage business, but like, what kind of skills would that kind of profile need?
Thanks so much, Nadia, to you and the person who added the other question. I can get started. I think being able to clearly articulate the problem statement that you're trying to solve for is one of the core things that may seem very trivial, but it is not. And a lot of people, if you become like master at it, then you can apply it to whatever role you are into. What I mean by that is oftentimes we are not able to explain the problem very succinctly in just 2 or 3 lines. And we think like we need all these different things and I can't do it because I don't have a tech person, etc. AI tools, in fact, have made it very easy. If you are able to sort of give it the right problem, if you're able to share, this is the kind of persona, this is the kind of organization I'm building, this is the community I'm solving the problem for, then that it is able to show you the path to what others may have done. Um, one example of a tool that we created recently, which is focused on the financial inclusion space and organizations and individuals who are creating solutions or thinking about, say, small businesses that are looking at the financial health of their communities, is Finverse. And this is a tool, it's an open tool available on the website. It allows people to see, enter, essentially look at what sort of data problem are they trying to solve for, and what is the kind of audience they are trying to cater to, what part of the world they are in. And it gives you, it builds out strategies and approaches for you to then sort of get a direction, a pathway to solve the problem, and adds that with local data sets and case studies from similar organizations who have done this. A lot of the organizations that we work with tell us that sometimes it's just that spark of inspiration that is needed to see, like, if someone else could do it in a similar context, I can also do it. So that's what this tool sort of gives them, to give that impetus. And at the end of it, in fact, does something very cool, which is generates an AI prompt text that you can use into any tool, Claude, ChatGPT, etc., and then further use it to find more solutions. So the knowledge exists, the information exists in the world. It's about being able to ask the right questions and do it in the right way. So I feel like that is something that can help with any career.
Yeah,
But
and
sure.
I guess the opposite too, the discretion to look at the answer quite critically, right? And ask yourselves, is this really a hallucination, or is this information kind of suitable to my context? Yeah, so thanks so much. So we've got a couple more questions, and I'm happy to continue the conversation. But at the same time, I'm mindful that some people might need to drop off right at the hour mark. So Apurva, if you could share the screen for the feedback form, that would be great. So again, we're going to continue the conversation. Apurva is going to share the screen. For those of you who would like to download your certificate, we also require we also will. Okay, yeah, it's come up, Apurva. Um, we would love to hear your feedback about what you thought about this session, and also what you feel could be useful for you in future sessions of the speaker series. So again, I'm going to continue the conversation, if you don't mind, Priyank and Shivam, while we give opportunity for people to get their certificate. There's a question on people who are a little bit younger, right? So the question is, some of these roles seem extremely specialized, and what are the chances of these being micro specialized? Is there a trend for employers to look at specialized candidates over generalists? That's the first part of the question. And with regards to building human skills, how do you help younger individuals develop them, 15 to 18-year-olds? So maybe this is a young teacher who has asked this question. So I guess two parts of this question. Any trends towards specialist versus generalist for employers that you see, and about building these human skills at the younger population. And I'm fine if you don't answer both of them. Maybe they're not both in your area of expertise. Yep.
Shivam, do you want to start? In fact, I was just typing the answer to that in the chat, but Shivam may want to add something else.
No, I was actually thinking about the same thing, this T-shaped. I think it's the right way to think about it. And in fact, there's a new term for it. You can have a comb-shaped curve also, which means that, so a T basically has a horizontal line which signifies the breadth, and then the vertical line signifies the depth in one thing. So you should be good at one thing. It could be domain, so it could be health, climate, financial inclusion. It could be getting work done, so it could be stakeholder management, it could be program management. So that's that one vertical. A new concept is that of a comb shape, which is that a couple of vertical lines as opposed to just one vertical line. So you can have a program management skill, but a little bit of domain experience, say in climate. So those are things that are really valued. But my experience has been that there is place for everyone. If you're really good at your work, you have to find your opportunity, yes, but there is space for everyone. So some people can be generalists and be doing really well. Some people can be specialists and also be doing really well in those specialized fields. So there is no one right answer. It's a lot about you thinking at who are you really as a person? Are you a curious person who jumps from one domain to another? I am that person. Or are you someone who can commit to one domain or one field for a really long time and develop that expertise, and then be really authentic to yourself? But this mindset of T-shaped or a comb-shaped sort of a portfolio of skills really helps thinking about how to build it.
Yeah, thanks for sharing it. Yeah, I thought that was a really interesting way of thinking about it. But in terms of about finding the fit that works for you, right? And finding a space in the labor market is massive. So finding a space in the labor market that really fits not only your skills, but also your general personality. Yeah. And in terms of the second, I think there's another question in the field. Oh no. And maybe I'll give my own reflections on like building human skills at younger individual. And I think at least for me, in this field that I'm in, I see that there is a movement towards recognizing that these human skills are collaboration, thinking deeply and really kind of considering the ethics of things is something that is increasingly added into curriculum as we teach students to be more reflective across the region. It's something that I find personally it's a happy thing. Like it really, I think, will create a generation of students who recognize that AI is a tool, right? But then wielding it and using it ethically, it's something that we have to learn and we have to decide for ourselves. All right, we're reaching the top of the hour. Any final reflections or thoughts, Shivam and Priyank?
No, thank you so much. I think just thinking that's just not being scared of AI and trying to embrace it and integrate into the workflows that you choose to get into will enable everyone to do magical things. Yeah.
I would just say, just get started. Don't worry too much. It might not be the best start for you, but you will figure it out. Don't overthink and just go do it.
Yeah. Thanks so much. And for all our participants, either joining us live or will be watching later on, there are plenty of resources available out there. And if you don't know where to start, I think data.org is a great place, right? Like, so there are, I've tried to explore the website myself. There are plenty of opportunities to look at different, like Shivam and Priyank mentioned, some shorter courses that you can just get, just kind of get a little bit of a taster, and then you decide if you want to have a more kind of deep engagement. And a lot of the courses are totally free anyway. Yeah. Okay, thank you everyone who has joined us today, and a special thanks to our speakers, Priyank and Shivam. And see you at the next speaker series. Have a nice evening, everyone.
Thanks,
Thanks for
Shivam. Thanks, Priyank.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.